Do I have a very incredibly niche and weird video today. I'm going to talk to you about automatic time cat feeders. How exciting. Also, can we just take a moment to appreciate this outfit? I'm really annoyed that I was on my team call this morning and no one commented on it. I'm looking like an emo Joe Exotic. I look fantastic, you know. They've got no culture. But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna give my thoughts on some automatic time cat feeders because my cat Reg, he is like incredibly food obsessed. He is like absolutely mad for food. He just wants to eat all day. He's a little chunk, and he's also diabetic, and he's probably diabetic because he was a little chunk. He's a very sedentary boy. But yeah, I just got so sick of him screaming in the morning because he has to have his food at certain times because he has insulin at certain times. He was just screaming like 2 hours before I had to get up for work, and it's really annoying. So we thought, oh, we'll get him some like cat feeders, and that should hopefully stop him like guzzling as well, because he will just like absolutely scoff his food in like 30 seconds flat, and then he's screaming for more because obviously he's not took his time to savor it and enjoy the lovely tin of cat food that we've given him. So yeah, we bought 2 and they've not really been great. So I'll give you my thoughts on those. Like first and foremost, oh, here's the boy. My big man. He's grizzling a bit because he wants me to feed him, but he's just had a little bit of dinner, haven't you, big boy? And you're not allowed any more yet until tea time. But yeah, here's the cat tax. He's my big boy. He's my little angel. He's Reggie. He's 10 years old. I've had him for 5 years, and he got diagnosed with diabetes like October time. So that's just been a bit of a shift, like giving him his insulin and like actually watching what he's eating. But he's pretty good. He's not too bad. He's a good boy. Right, I'll let him go. You're just gonna stand here? It's because the food bowls are here. He's like, you're going to feed me? Like, no, this is just a collection of food bowls, honey. You're a little helper. You're a good boy. Right, you're a scooch. Oh. There we go. That's done. I'll go let him out before he starts screaming. So yeah, now I think I've sufficiently paid the cat tax by showing off Reggie boy. So we bought 2 feeders. They were like really highly rated by people on Amazon, but I think the people that rated them, their cats weren't as like food obsessed or like as smart as Reg, because like he is quite smart. He's like, we've taught him tricks and everything. He's very eager to please if you give him a treat or 2. So they're both like Mate brand ones. We got this one, which I think is the like Mate C20. It's just got 2 little containers here, and you put the timer on and it pops open, and then there's a timer on the other side. So it's got like a 48-hour like timer dial on it, so you can set it. So I can set it for like, oh, I'm gonna set it for like 12 hours from now, and then like 24 hours from now, so they're like spaced apart. We don't have any issues with like the timer function on this. It was like completely fine. It seemed to go off at the right time, if anything like a little later than it was supposed to. It's in like little hour increments, so it's a bit hard like if you want to time it for like, if we put the food in at like 6:30 and like, oh, we want it to go off at 8, you have to really do it on the hour because it's not like 100% accurate. But this was fine with the timer element, but he really managed to like jimmy these open. Like he would just like get his paw under and like be able to like rag this tray out. And I came home from like my walk after I'd finished work, and he just like absolutely destroyed it, just pulled it all out and eaten it, which like is not good, especially because he's diabetic. Like that's gonna like really mess with his blood sugar, but he doesn't understand that because he's a cat. But yeah, I'll insert some close-ups of these. We've only had this for like a week and a half, and he's like absolutely destroyed it. It's like absolutely scratched to pieces just because he gets really focused on it. Because when you feed him normally, you give him his bowl of food and he's like completely fine. He'll have his food, have his insulin, then like settle down for a nap or something. But with this one, as soon as we feed him, because he knows there's food in the other side, he gets really like anxious and stressing himself out, and he's like clawing at it to get to it. Like he doesn't let it rest. He's just like clawing at it until you put it away, and he's like doing it. He would just do it for hours, whereas our other cat, she would do it for like a little bit and then she'd just get bored. But like Reg gets really fixated. He's a food orientated boy. So yeah, that was just really stressful for us all because he was getting stressed out, and just like the noise of him flipping it over and like flipping it back and just like scratching it and just like getting really like agitated. That was really annoying. So yeah, like not great for that. And our other cat as well, she would manage to get her paws in it, and she's not as like savvy as Reg is. And yeah, they will flip it over and the batteries will come out, and then they don't understand. That means it won't work. We even tried to like put some rubber bands around it to stop him wrangling it open, and he managed to like ping those off and still managed to get it open too early. And then he gets to have 2 breakfasts and he's very happy, but then I'm stressing because he shouldn't be having that much food, but he doesn't care. So yeah, not great. This is probably the best of the 2 that we got though. Okay, the timer is fine, but it's just like really easy for them to get it open. Like they can just sort of pry it open, because yeah, I came home and he pried it open and managed to like knock the tray loose, and they'd, between them, he was the mastermind, the other cat was also just feasting on the scraps. Yeah, they'd managed to eat one of his portions of food for the day. So not ideal, really. As soon as we realised that the little 2-compartment one wasn't really working, we invested in this big boy, and this has got like 5 sections in it. The only issue is the first section, well, not the only issue, there's a lot of issues. The first section obviously isn't timed, so there's not really any use to that, but then it's like that's the main one, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so you can put your portions in there. But again, with this one, it moves really easily, so you can see like Reg could get his hand in there and he could very easily like wangle this off, because he's like quite a big strong boy, and when he like is really obsessed on something, he'll just keep doing it. So yeah, it's got like the little timer function on it isn't great. I'll put like a little close-up of it in a minute, but yeah, you can only space together the increments in like 6 hours. So I like to give Reg his breakfast, and then he'll have like a little snack for like dinner time, and then at tea time he'll have like another big meal. But you can only set these 6 hours apart. So like that's not great, because he like, it's not 6 hours between his breakfast and like his little dinner time snack kind of thing. It's just really fiddly to use as well. It just seems like quite overly complicated. And we found that the timers will go off like up to 4 hours before it's been set. Like we would set it for like 2 o'clock in the afternoon for him to have his dinner, and it'll go off at 12, which is really not ideal. Like, I mean, if you're just leaving them overnight and you just want to make sure they actually get fed once and they're not eating it all, fine. But if your cat's like an indoor cat and they're bored and they're as like food obsessed as Reg is, even like a half as food obsessed that he is, they're going to find a way to break into it, or they're just going to be making themselves really anxious just trying to get into it. So yeah, it's just not really ideal. It's not great. I just find this one quite like fiddly to use. They do clean really easily. That's like one thing I will say. They are just like super easy to clean, and they've got ice packs that you freeze with them, which like stop the food going all manky. Yeah, I just not a fan of these 2. The only thing we've really found, it doesn't even stop him like screaming, it just stops him guzzling. We feed him now using an ice cube tray. We put the food in there, sometimes the other side if we're feeling fancy, just because that really stops him just like grabbing a mouthful of food and just like gulping it down, because that is what he loves to do, and this actually makes him like think more about it. Just because it's quite hard to find enrichment for him to like with his food, because he can't have dry food because it's like full of carbohydrates and it's not good for his blood sugar. And like a lot of the toys and stuff, we have like one of the little puzzle balls, but that's for dry food. So it's really hard to come up with ideas to like stop him from guzzling his food and just keep him entertained and just calm him down, because he's quite an anxious boy sometimes. Yeah, so cat mate, I'm sorry, you're not great for what we need. They probably would be fine if your cat isn't like as food obsessed and they're not like bored stuck in the house. But with Reg, he doesn't really like it. And my other issue that I forgot is if they're not going off on time, sometimes we would have to like manually turn the dial to make it pop up, and we wanted to make Reg just like know the difference between I feed him or the feeder feeds him. We really wanted him to know food's in the feeder and the feeder will go off and then you'll get fed. Whereas if he sees me just turn it to open it, he still thinks, oh yeah, that's mum feeding me. But I'm not directly putting the food down, but he'll still like make that connection, and we don't want him to be thinking that, because like every time I'll be at work and then I'll stand up and then he'll like zoom towards me because he's like, she's gonna feed me. I'm like, I'm not gonna feed you. It's 10 in the morning, you've just had your breakfast, calm down. But he's always chancing it. So yeah, we're just not really thrilled with the cat mate feeders. Like, they might be fine for your cat, but especially for Reg, because he has to have his food at the same time. Otherwise he'll like run the risk of being unwell. They're just not ideal. We actually had an issue with him yesterday. We had to take him to the emergency vet because he'd gone hypoglycemic, and we believe it is because the cat feeder had gone off early. It's like no fault of the cat feeder, but we had like not gotten up at our usual time, and he just took unwell after I'd given him his insulin. I think it had just been too big a gap, because we thought that the cat feeder had gone off at 8, but we weren't there to see it. So, and now knowing the issues, it could have gone off up to 6, and then he's having his insulin 3 hours later, and it really should be in like a more of a 2-hour window. So yeah, that was a bit scary, and it's just a bit disappointing that we've bought these and we can't actually rely on them to do what they say they're going to do. It's just not accurate enough. It's just not great. So yeah, this has been a very rambly video about my feelings on these cat feeders. So yeah, we're not really impressed. They're not great. There's a lot of cat feeders out there, but not really many that are like suitable for wet food. It's usually the ones where it's like the little like robo ones where it like deposits some biscuits in, but that's no good for Reggie because he can't have dry food because it's full of carbohydrates. He has to be wet food for his diabetes. Also, how many times can I say in this video, my cat has diabetes? That's my personality trait, apparently. So yeah, it's just not great. I'm not really impressed. So we're just going to have to put up with his yelling from 6 to 8 in the morning and then 6 to 8 at night. So that's really fun. So yeah, you can probably see all the like scratches he's made on it. Little timer thing up here, and it just flips open. And you can see there's a little tray here that you put food in. It's got the ice pack underneath. It's all like fairly straightforward, really easy to clean and stuff. And then can I close this back one-handed? Yay! But you can see here like how easy it is for him to just like wangle it open and just like get to the food inside. And he would be flipping it over and then flipping it over, and then you'd open it and then there'd be cat food like all on the lid. It's really disgusting. And this is the like big boy feeder. This bit comes off, and there's the ice packs underneath. So yeah, this bit is supposed to like swizz around. Oh, this is really loud, sorry. I can't put it back one-handed. There we go. So yeah, this is the little timer dealer. And Reg has managed to like knock this off because he's a very smart and determined young man. Sorry, I just had to pause to rejig all these because it's really hard to do one-handed. I don't know why I was struggling with it when I could have just put the camera down. So yeah, you can see I've set it as if the time now is 6 o'clock and I want this to go off at 12 o'clock. Yeah. So this will supposed to spin around at 12. So you go 6, 7, 8, and it's spun round. And that is obviously 4 hours too early, which is not ideal. It shouldn't be doing that. It should go off on time. Like, I could accept if it's like an hour before or after, but when I've just tested this before I started filming, some of the increments were going off 4 hours early. Some was like 2, some was 3. None of them were actually going off at the right time, which is pretty useless. Here's a little bonus of Reg doing his tricks. His little high five. I do another one. Do one with the other paw. Come on. Good boy. You want a little treat? Good boy.